What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about Canadian news because, as an American, I never get to hear about Canadian news here in the United States from any of our news or media coverage. So today, I'd like to take some time to learn about the current news and events happening in Canada right now that I otherwise would never get to hear about. So, with that being said, let's take a look, starting with pilot dead, thousands without power after northwestern Alberta plane crash. Oh my god. Wait. A plane crash? Like how big is this plane? Like a plane full of people? Or pilot is dead and thousands are without power in Alberta? Oh my god. Federal officials are en route to northwestern Alberta to investigate a plane crash that killed a pilot. Okay, so just like a small plane, like a personal plane. I mean, that's still horrible, but when you're looking at this from my point of view and you don't know the story, it's like plane crash, like a commercial plane, like with hundreds of people, or no, that didn't happen. So I'm glad about that, but this is still quite sad. A pilot was killed and power was lost around Fort Vermilion. Where is Fort Vermilion? It's in somewhere in northwestern Alberta. I've never heard of it. The crash reported to Fort Vermilion at 8 p.m. Saturday happened in a field. It was in the middle of a field. Well, that's good because it sounds like that would be the lowest probability of other people getting hurt by this crash or crashing into a building. But it's knocked out power, apparently. 3,800 customers were affected by 3 outages Sunday morning. Okay, that's bad. This isn't like the absolute worst thing in the world. Just tragic. Tragic for that individual who died. What else do we have here? It's kind of starting off with a bit of a sad news story. Unfortunately, it just seems like in this day and age, like all news is just like sad or tragic. You don't get too much good news. That doesn't get the clicks. The clicks. We need the clicks. We have to make news about feeling swarmed. WASP experts explain what's with all the buzz this year? Not what I was expecting. Do Canadians have more wasps than normal? I do not like wasps. I don't think anybody really likes wasps, if we're being honest, but to avoid getting stung, it's best to stand still and avoid swatting. Oh god, have I been doing it wrong? I don't care if logically you're supposed to stand still and not swat. It's like every ounce of my being is forcing me to not stand still. In fact, do the opposite. Run away, screaming in panic, and swat. I do it literally the opposite of how you should react to wasps, but that's just me. With 25 to 40 calls a day to remove wasp nests, that's 4 times the typical volume. Is Canada having a wasp problem? My god. What's going on in this crazy world? What else do we have here? A boy, 15, was fatally shot by 2 RCMP officers? What? During a confrontation south of Edmonton. What? What on earth? 15-year-old boy was killed by police in Canada. Talk about sad. Oh my god. RCMP, that's like the mounted police, right? Mounties? During a confrontation. That's 15. So young. Well, what was this confrontation exactly? Now I'm kind of invested in this. News that a teenager was fatally shot by police early Friday morning has shocked many residents in the communities across central Alberta. Why is everything happening in Alberta? What the heck is going on in Alberta? Like every news story today has been in Alberta. I'm just saying. What's going on there? A 15-year-old boy from Samson Cree Nation? Does that mean like an indigenous Canadian? Called 911 for help, alleging that people were trying to kill him. This is so strange. He called the police for help. Officers found the boy in Wetaskiwin, Alberta, city just north of the First Nation, with several weapons. They found the boy with several weapons, even though he called in for help. Officers were able to confiscate the weapons, but a confrontation occurred that led to two Mounties firing their guns. The boy later died in a hospital. It's sad. It is sad. This is very sad. What happened? Do police in Canada have to wear cameras on them? American police officers almost always have body cameras. Thank goodness, because for situations like this, you can just watch the footage and see if the shooting is justified or not. Either way, justified or not, this is just tragic. Once again, tragic to say the least. But it's 15-year-old. It's horrible. That is horrible. Is he the same person who called the police? He called the police, saying people were trying to kill him. But then they confronted him, and he had weapons. And then had some kind of confrontation with the police, whatever that means. But it was enough that they felt like they had to shoot him. That's crazy. That is... You hear about those types of police stories here in America? Not something I expect to hear in Canada. But I don't know why, I always say, like, Canada is just like, another country with regular people, good and bad, and crime, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like Canada does get put on, like, a special pedestal in the eyes of Americans, like myself even, just, even if it's not realistic. Like, I don't know, we just have this such a pure, wholesome view of Canada and Canadians. When I hear about, like, oh, police had to kill a 15-year-old child, like, in Canada, it's jarring to me. Let's keep going, though. What else? I'm going to scroll down a little bit so we can look at the entire week of news. Minor earthquakes rattle parts of Quebec, including Montreal. Earthquakes? Earthquakes in Quebec? I didn't know Canada got earthquakes. Parts of America get earthquakes. I guess parts of Canada get earthquakes. In Montreal as well. No kidding. Some residents in several parts of Quebec were jolted awake early Sunday morning by a minor earthquake. I actually experienced an earthquake. I forgot about this. When I was a kid, there was an earthquake that woke me up in the middle of the night. A minor one, just like this. It doesn't really do much. You wake up and you're like, your bed is vibrating a little bit, as well as the house. And you're just like, it's so strange, so surreal. You just wake up and you're vibrating, and you're like, from a sleep, when you're like, huh? Is that a good? It's my impression of waking up at 3 a.m. to an earthquake. You're just like, you don't even like really register that something strange is going on. You're just like, I need to go back to sleep. This is really annoying. Can can you stop jumping around? You don't even like realize that it's weird that you're hopping around. I think this was very similar. That happened in Quebec. It feels like a really, really large truck or train has gone by. No damage was reported from the earthquake. Okay, these earthquakes are rare in Canada, but they do happen. Really? I did not know. That must have been interesting if you're in these parts of Quebec or Montreal to be woken up by that earthquake. That happened to me once. I forgot about that. Huh. It is strange. 5 5 emergency rooms close in interior British Columbia over a long weekend due to staffing shortages. Really? Emergency rooms closed over the long weekend, Labor Day weekend, because of staffing shortages. That's horrible. That's terrifying. Like, emergency rooms is one of those things that you like, you need staff. You can't have a shortage of that. Or, like, it will, you know, directly, it will lead to someone not getting the care that they need because there's not as much available. Emergency rooms at 5 British Columbian hospitals were closed over the long weekend due to staffing shortages. 5 emergency rooms closed. Man, how do you fix that? More people need to just get into the career of being nurses and doctors, or do they need to be paid better in Canada to promote that? Or this is just like unfortunate to hear. Anything else? Anything else about why? There are 10 to 15,000 people that don't have a doctor in our region, so they rely on the emergency department for services. Wow. Last year there were 10 emergency room closures due to staffing shortages. Really? Is there any like solution being proposed to this, or not? 45,000 healthcare workers have been added since 2017, since a $1 billion human resources strategy was launched in 2022. So they are trying to like implement strategies to encourage more healthcare workers. Is this a British Columbia thing or a Canada thing? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Let's scroll down a little bit here. Just to see if there's any news earlier in the week that I missed. Um, hmm. What do we have here? New school year offers no relief for Canadian teachers amid ongoing shortages. Teacher shortages. There's emergency room shortages, and there's teacher shortages in Canada. Man, isn't that just unfortunate? These are industries that, you really depend on. Like, that goes without saying. Healthcare, you need that. Education, you need that. What? Teachers? Teachers are not paid well in America. I think that must be true in Canada. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a shortage. And I don't understand it. Teachers cite stress, guilt, and frustration. Um, Teachers, that is just one of the most important things that you need in your communities, in your country, to teach the future of your nation, the next generation. Um, so I think they should be paid better. It's funded by the government in America. So maybe we should like take a little of the funding for our military, or in, instead of spending like $1 trillion on our military, we could spend like, I don't know, 800 billion, which is still an ungodly amount of money. No one would even really notice. And put some of that funding into education. Pay the teachers better. Get more people excited and passionate about making a good career, making money while doing something really important. I don't know. It seems so obvious to me. Like, am I missing something here? Just pay the teachers better. Then people will want to do it. Elementary and secondary schools across Canada are facing issues of teacher shortages. I know this is a problem in America as well. Frustration is coming that I know I won't have the resources I need or the support. The system is not robust. It's not sustainable. Do they talk about why this is? Like, is it have to do with pay? It's not greedy. It is not a greedy teacher asking for more money. It is not a teacher asking for more prep time. It is needed. Yeah, oh no, oh my gosh. I do not think any teacher is greedy for asking for money. And it sounds like they're just asking for money to buy more like paper and pencils. in like supply school supplies. Not even money for their salary to get paid more, even though they should have that too. Oh my goodness, that really gets me fired up a little bit. Same thing for the healthcare workers. Um, these are industries that are like largely funded by the government. I don't know exactly how it works in Canada, but if it works like if it's government funded, um, which I would imagine education is in Canada, it's up to the government to give them more money, right? Am I missing something? Anyway, I'm sure I am. By the way, this is just my sort of. I'm not. Believe me, I'm not informed about all this stuff. But there's my knee jerk. There's one ignorant American's opinion right there. What else do we have here? Canadian wheelchair racer Austin Smink captured a Paralympic bronze. Very good. Very good. Paralympics are going on. Yes, awesome. A bronze for Canada. Um, Whooping cough cases are soaring to new heights in Canada. Yeah, what's behind the new spike? Oh my god. Whooping cough. Yeah, why is this spiking in Canada? Why is there always got to be airborne illnesses? Is that just life now? The classic sound of a whooping cough is grating and unmistakable. Really, I'm not sure I know the sound of a whooping cough. It's a harsh, deep hacking, followed by a distinctive whoop as patients struggle to breathe. What? I don't mean to laugh at anyone's misfortune, but this sounds kind of scary. If you have the whooping cough, you make a whoop sound. Whoop. What was that? Where'd that come from? Who did that? I didn't know I could make that noise. Is that what it's hacking? Oh my god, is that what it is? Jeez, I didn't know I could even do that. I'm scaring myself. The 12,000 cases of whooping cough, or pertussis, or the 100-day cough, have been reported in 2024. Wow, far higher than the 500 to 4,500 nationwide infections typically reported a year. Yeah, it's double or triple the amount normally found in Canada. Why? Oh my god, how's this spread? Mainly striking youth aged 10 to 14. Oh my goodness, isn't there a vaccine for this? Like a pertussis vaccine? I thought so. It's a trend being seen in the U.S. and Europe. I didn't even know that it was a trend here in America. I wish God, now I wish I could go back to not knowing. This is one of those things where I felt okay not being stressed out by this. Adults often break their ribs. It's highly contagious. It can be mild for many individuals. It can lead to pneumonia or brain damage or life-threatening illness. Oh my goodness. You can break your ribs because you cough so violently. God, this sounds bad. Oh my goodness. What's behind these surges? Yes, what's behind it? Um, what? Where is it? They come in waves. Does it? I don't think it even says here what's behind it. It's the usual ebb and flow of pertussis. It's more common some years than others. That's what we have to go on, really? That's not very satisfying. Oh boy, I'm not going to spend all day reading about whooping cough, but that's not healthy. And neither is getting whooping cough, but gosh, that is kind of scary. Anything else here? Real quick. Polivre asks Singh to poll support for Liberal government to prompt a fall election. What? What does that mean? Canadian politics do kind of confuse me. Polivre, I know I'm saying his name wrong, but the Conservative Party leader in Canada, I think? Yeah. I learned about him a while ago. He has a very real chance to become Canada's next prime minister. He's asking Singh, who is a different party leader in Canada, I think. He's asking for support for Liberal government to prompt a fall election. To prompt a fall election. This is what I don't understand. When are elections happening in Canada? You can prompt an election? You can cause an election? Um, a conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, has written a letter to his NDP counterpart, who is Jagmeet Singh, to poll his party support for the Liberal government so Canadians can go to the polls this fall instead of next year. Okay, so from what I understand, if the NDP, polled their support for the Liberal government, that would somehow trigger an election this fall in Canada rather than an election next year. I don't know how any of that works, but this is like that would be pretty big. That'd be big. Like it would literally be voting for the prime minister if this happened a whole year earlier. I don't know why it has to happen next year. I don't know what would trigger it to happen this fall, but apparently that is a thing. I do not understand Canadian politics, but there you go. Very interesting though. That would be big, huh? An election, I mean, possibly new Canadian leadership. I don't know how the election results would end up or how it would go, but that's interesting. This was all quite interesting, actually. Some bad news this week, some good news, some interesting news, some whooping cough. A lot of stuff going on in Canada, and I'm glad that I took some time to actually learn about it. So, anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of this Canadian news or any Canadian news I may have missed this week. That'd be very helpful. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and learning about Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.